man. So let's I want to jump into the first story today. Lil Durk, his trial is coming up very very soon, and it's not looking good for the brother because he filed a motion to try to get a couple of his cases severed, but the Fed said hell no, they're going to put everything together. He's facing murder charges, all types of charges. But two people, I think he has 2 or 3 people that are going to testify against him that were somebody allegedly that he hired to hit somebody, to go take somebody out, man. And it's just, I'm not gonna say it's sad because if you do a crime, you deserve the time. But just, it seemed like to me that Dirk, he left it alone like too late because he took a shahada, he became a Muslim, and it was just a little too late. Like all, the demons of his past came back to haunt him, and I feel away a little because these guys is in this environment, man. But then again, I'm like, you ain't got to make the bad choice that everybody else makes. It's a little easier to make those bad choices when that's all you have available. I mean, let's be real. If we would have came up like impoverished in those areas and whatnot, one of us probably ended up in jail or dead somewhere. One of us would have went the wrong way. Yeah. But there's always a diamond in the rough that was a ball player or he's into the books and he grew up in that same project, that same hood, and he ain't mess with none of that. Mm-hmm. So there's no excuses. So I kind of look at it like, damn, Dirk, the influence that he has, and you had it out, bro. You was in the industry. You made millions of dollars. You had choices that you could have made to say, man, nah, bro, but you was loyal to your friends. You hung around these guys, and you seen Dirk when he popped up on podcasts. He had 15, 20 dudes with him.
It was deep.
And it's like, these are the situations, and you might still have an entourage like that, but they can't all be thugs no more.
Yeah.
It could be your mom, maybe your brother, or whoever. But you hanging out with this same street element, it's not surprising to see now that he is fighting for his life. And the guys that he was loyal to and expected him to be loyal now turning on Dirk. So how do you see this turning for Dirk? Because a lot of people feel like he got a chance, but some people think he's cooked.
I sit in the middle with it. I think he has a chance, but he ultimately could be cooked when you look at, like, all right, you just brought up a situation where it's like, look at Dirk on podcasts. He had 15, 20 people affiliated with him deep, blah, blah, blah. If I'm the feds and I'm trying to put a case against him and I'm looking at that lineup and 10 of those 15 people are affiliated with a gang and you sitting there at the head of that gang, okay, bet, I got something. Rico, easy. You know what I mean? If you got all these situations where people and bodies ended up dropping and dying and you are at the head of that class, whether you pull the trigger yourself or you on the forefront of making moves to have other people, you are the head of the table, right? And although I look at Dirk now and I can kind of see where this young man is going to be in 10, 15 years, as you can see, obviously he's starting to slow down and his head is starting to kind of get tuned on right to where he's like, yeah, my actions weren't the best. I wasn't the best influence for these kids. I have to do better. But like you also alluded to, it might just be too little too late. So although I hate to see a young man who's seemingly beginning to get it now, albeit while behind bars, you would like to see those type of people get second chances and move on in life. I cannot ignore the fact, and I won't ignore the fact, that mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, siblings, family are having to still mourn deaths seemingly at the hands of Dirk. And I hear other people in the game talking about, oh, people are fake. They don't say free Dirk no more, free this. Now, fuck all that free shit. Listen, you made your bed, you got to lay in it, bro. Mm-hmm. You don't need a bunch of fake-ass supporters talking about free this, free that for no reason, throwing out empty calories. If you did what you did and they find out at the end of the day, you have to be responsible and hold yourself accountable for those actions. And if accountability means that you got to sit your ass in jail, then, hey, man, you knew the risk. You knew the consequences. Mm-hmm. You sat in the game. You were in the game. You were one of the most popular artists. Your music was hot, and you still chose to live a certain lifestyle. Then, bro, it don't matter how much Sam says free Dirk or O says free Dirk or whoever else says it. At the end of the day, you have to look yourself in the mirror and take accountability for those actions, as unfortunate as it is. I'm not going to sit back and say free this dude because he's a great rapper or I think he's turned his life around, because there's still people mourning deaths that are seemingly, allegedly, from his hands, man. So it's an unfortunate situation. This is why we get on these platforms, our platform in particular, and get so frustrated when we hear certain things getting projected in our community, from music to how people are moving. This is why we get frustrated when we see a Pooh Shiesty doing what he does, or we get a Young Miami playing the type of music that they play, because you're not thinking about the what if. You thinking about the right now. You caring about getting it right now, but then you motherfuckers seemingly regret and then want somebody to free or want somebody to show sympathy once the judge slaps that hammer down, man. So you can't have it both. You can't have it both ways, man. You can't want to be a boss but then ask for pity when somebody catches you, man. So unfortunate. I see that Dirk has a strong support system. I seen that Jay-Z allegedly was in his team, you know what I mean, either showing him support or whatever the case may be. But his reality is going to be his reality, and it looks like he's going to spend some time in jail. And I don't really have an opinion about that, because if he did what he was supposed, if he did what they're alleging that he did, then what can I say about that, man?
Yeah, and I'm gonna disagree with you on the last part. I think it's his, as far as the support system, I think they fallen by the wayside. I think it was a post. I don't know if it was real. Everything now you gotta vet it.
Yeah.
But he was pretty much saying like it's only a handful of people in his corner, and that's the other side, of the prison life. And once you get incarcerated, your mom probably the only one's gonna be there for you. A lot of the time, like if you got a girl, she may hang on for a while, or a wife. Your homies probably, you might have a one or two. But for the most part, the only person gonna be there is your mom. Yeah. Through all thick and thin. Like like I said, your home might hang on for a while. Even your girl might hang on for a while. Your wife might hang on for a while. But it depends on your sentence, obviously. 10, 15 years, you can't expect nobody to wait for you. You know what I mean? But your mom is gonna be there. All your friends in the street is gonna do them. They not worried about you. Somebody called, man, fuck that. I'm doing something in the street.
Yep.
I'm not worried about that. So that's just the reality that I wish. It's okay to tell the part that you've been through if you're Dirk and NBA and all these different people, but at least give the other side, the misery, that when you sit in a bed cell, you have nothing. It's fucking miserable, bro. It is miserable for even one day.
Yeah.
So some of these dudes need to go experience that, first, like them Scared Straight programs to understand, all right, this you want to be a reality, this is what it's going to be. You calling, begging people for this, calling, begging people for that. You worrying about what your wife's doing. You worrying about, you trying to discipline your kids, but your kids ain't worried about what the fuck you saying because you ain't there.
You ain't there.
Dad, you ain't even there. Dad, I don't want to hear this shit. What you going to say?
Right.
Because he's telling the truth.
Right.
But just give people the other, side of it. And I honestly think it was too late. Yeah. You see these guys turn to Muslim, they find Islam and Christianity. And it's like, dog, you was the devil when you was in the streets. And I get some of the stuff was probably justified. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody killed your homie, your brother. You felt like you had to go ahead and retaliate. I get it. But just know that once you get caught for that type of stuff, and they're going to try to prove that you did it, you got to pay that consequence. That's me, you, or anybody else. Yep. If I were to go out and do some shit, I got to pay the consequence. So that's just the rough part about this, man. And I don't think it's going to really teach the youth a lesson. It seems like these kids nowadays hard-headed. They got to go through it. Yeah. They can't see somebody else going through it and say, I'm not going to do it. They got to go through it. I'm like, damn, man, I wish I ain't never do this shit. Damn, I wish I would have did this. I guarantee you Dirk is sitting up there saying, damn, I wish I would have did this different. I guarantee it, because everybody in prison is.
You ain't going to see your kids. Them jewels don't matter. Them records don't matter.
Nothing.
It's fucking, man, oh man. The reality is very unfortunate, but it's a reality that you created, bro. So.
Yep.